I want to see Brock Purdy versus Todd Bowles in this Tampa Bay defense.
Todd alone, but also the talent they have over there. And they stop the run as good as anybody in this league.
We can help our offense out a great deal if we got turnovers. I think that's what's missing from this year's defense.
We're a competitive team, and we're going to go out there and we're going to try to play our best football this year.
Play action fake, Dalton dropping, looking. He's got to go down. He is sacked at the 18-yard line.
Let's go. Third down and 5, and Dalton is sacked by Levante David. There he goes, going deep, down the field, intercepted! Jamel D with a terrific pick. Let's go! He's gonna catch.
They got a lot of talented players over there. They're not going to change their scheme just because somebody else is at quarterback.
We're playing a great football team, best defense in the league, some incredible players in Bosa, Warner, so we got to work cut out for us.
First and goal for the 5, Brady. Evans. Did he catch it? Yes, sir. Touchdown.
The snap to Brady, swing pass to Leonard Fournette, got a combo to the right, inside the 10, made a guy miss to the 5, 3, 2, 1, touchdown, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Back up is in, Brady, deep shot downfield for Julio Jones at the 30.
Brady looking, now throws, Godwin, first down, touchdown.
We say we family, we gotta mean that. You gotta play for your brother to the right and to the left of you. It's gonna be a battle. Everything ain't gonna go perfect. We gotta be ready for whatever comes and fight to the end.
And you gotta be ready. They don't like us, we don't like them. We gotta lean on each other. I gotta be able to depend on you. You gotta be a warrior today. Prove your dominance tonight.
Here's the snap, Brady dropping, looking, Brady throws, football, it's caught, touchdown Tampa Bay, Rashawn White, touchdown Buccaneers, fire the cannon.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to an old school edition of Just Chilling with me and my main man, Deshaun T-Man Tisdale, Coach T. Going to talk a little bit of digressing of that ass whooping that happened with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the 49ers, or one team showed up. I think both Deshaun and myself were kind of like this after the game.
Right. Yeah, okay. Whatever. Fuck this bullshit.
Pretty much was what happened. Deshaun, what's up?
Hey, man, just great to be here, Blake. Once again, we want to talk about this game, get into it. Some of the things that a lot of people have been, talking about, some of the stuff in the media. Of course, we're going to hit it right here. Me and Blake going to get into them. We'll definitely make sure we talk about whether or not Mike Evans is going to get it. It's one of the earlier things that people are acting like they're worried about. I mean, listen. At this point in the season, I guess you want to hang your hat on something. I see a lot of fans like, oh, is Mike's going to keep up the record? And I'm like, dude, are we even going to make the playoffs right now?
Is that what you worried about?
I mean, I'm not worried about the record. I mean, I think if they're asking about the record right now, I think it's because they don't realize how much hitting yards Mike really gets and how close he is to the record.
Interference. Yeah, pass interference penalties, especially in that last game where he got that pass interference penalty right in the red zone, which led to a score that they needed in the game. So he's gotten a lot of hidden yards. It doesn't show up exactly on the stat sheet, but a pass interference puts you inside the 5. That's just as good as a catch.
Yeah, and listen, fans, if you were worried about it, literally Mike only needs like 50 yards per game out of the next 4 games to get it. He's already at 800 yards. Like Chris Godwin's at like 700. So sneaky. It doesn't seem like it. I know we're not putting up the points. We have moved the ball a little bit, but that's not the big issue here. The big issue is on this reaction day today is like, what the hell is happening? What the fuck is going on with this team, man? I don't know what's going on. A defense not playing like their offense not playing like that, and a lot of people want to get on Todd Bowles, and he doesn't have that. He doesn't have the reaction. You know what they want to see, Blake? They want to see. They want to see all of that out of Todd Bowles.
You can't do that with that every game, all the time. You would exhaust your team, and it would become numb if you did that every time. And again, there's a lot of coaches that don't really show a whole lot of expression on the sideline because you're trying to focus on so much. Todd's running the defense, and Leftwich and Tom Brady are running the offense. It's just been so much speculation with blaming Brady, blaming Bowles and Byron Leftwich, when clearly that's it. The argument. I mean, let's just get right into it. The argument has always been
going for the elephant.
Yeah, we're going straight for it. That's all everybody. That's all everybody want to talk about. What they say: put your money where your mouth is.
There you go. You know what I'm saying?
Put your money where your mouth
let's
is.
get it up. Let's see what we talk about. I got 100 on one of these elephants. Let's see what we talking about. I got two. Let's see, 300. We're going 500. That Blake is going to talk exactly about what I think he's going to talk about. Here it is on the line. Talk about it.
Listen, all right.
Talk about it.
So we'll go there. We'll match that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
all right.
Mm-hmm.
So the speculation. Well, it's not even speculation. It's fact. I keep saying it on social media. In order for Tom Brady to come back to this team in 2022, I said a couple of tangible pieces had to happen. I said BA had to remove himself from the sidelines, and Tom Brady and Bowles will run the offense, and Todd Bowles will run the defense, and of course keep the core of the team together. And Bruce would take a back seat, and that was pretty much Tom's rules for him to come back this season instead of going to Miami, down there to Miami with his wife. A lot of people don't want to.
Wait, Blake. Wait. Let's just, because sometimes you got to say it a second time for the people in the back. Blake. So you're telling me. I'm trying to understand that you believe, and you're $500 vested in that you believe that Tom Brady, one of his stipulations on coming back was that him and Brian Leftwich would run the offense, the offensive coordination portion of it, and he picked the plays that he likes with Brian Leftwich, and that BA would need to move basically to the back and be kind of moving an upstairs position, not really be involved in that play calling. And what really gives you what makes you kind of really feel that? What was it that's jumping off the board, kind of giving you that don't give us your sources, but I mean, if there's anything that kind of just that we could see that you could point out to us to let us know that as well.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I said, like you said, I don't want to give my sources. Like I said too, I don't get my information off ESPN. I get it from guys that are in the organization, in the locker room from them. So what happened, and it was in my last interview as well. Caleb Benenoch was up with the Buccaneers, with the Saints, and with the Jets recently. He said it right there on the air as well. He said it openly. He didn't care. Brady has been in the league over 20 plus years. Does not want to be screamed at, hollered like everybody else. And granted, he's earned that. He's the greatest of all time at the quarterback position. He's earned that right. But you guys are wondering why the spark and stuff is there. Is Tom Brady didn't want to be pushed anymore. He didn't want somebody with Brian Leftwich and Tom Brady come out with a game plan and BA come in there and scratch it up and says it sucks and pick new plays. He didn't want that anymore. So as much as you want to blame Bowles and all that, you got to give Shannon Sharp and everybody saying it. You got to give Tom Brady the blame. He's the one that wanted all of this. Yeah. This is what he wanted. He wanted the dink and dunk, no risk it, no biscuit. How many deep balls you seen this season?
Yeah, he ain't throwing them. He's not throwing them.
If he is, they inaccurate as hell.
Yes, they are very
as hell. These receivers had these guys cooked, and the ball's thrown 5 yards behind them. You can blame Bowles and Leftwich all the hell you want. He ain't throwing the ball. Just like Shannon Sharp says, you give praise to Tom Brady when he gets the comeback wins, and it's nobody else. But why don't you want to give any credit to him when the shit is screwing up? You got to do it both ways.
How many ground balls has he thrown this year? He's a pitcher. I mean, he's thrown this many ground balls that I'm just like, dude, okay, those are downs. Like we're losing downs. If that was a lineman giving up sacks for as many ground balls that he's thrown into the ground, we have a connection, right? we lose it, right? We would lose it. If it was Donovan Smith with the holding calls leading the league as he is right now, we would also lose it, right? And then what seems to be funny is, the naysayers, the people that be, right now, I heard something and it was like, oh, Donovan Smith has some personal issue or something of that nature.
So does everybody else.
Like, oh, well,
so does
everyone else has personal issues.
People are losing their dads. People are losing their wives. Yes. I don't want to hear that shit. I said, just like Todd Bowles said, he said, this is life. I said, you know what you do? Hey, Deshaun, man, I'm having a rough time. You mind talking to me a little bit? You go to your brothers and you talk to them and lean on them. Football is the one thing I loved about football. I had a lot of built-up aggression when I was younger, and that was a place for me to release that. It was the one place I could knock the shit out of somebody and not get charged for it.
No consequences.
And not get charged for the I would get charged a 15-yard penalty if I was a little excessive. But that's a place where you can let all that go. Yes, it still bothers because it's just like drinking, where you drink to try to hide your problems. As soon as you sober up, the problems are still there. But
still there.
for that moment, it's not there for those moments. And that's what he's got to do. I just don't want to hear that shit. I don't think anybody else does when talking about you dealing with personal issues when this team just specifically people have lost tons.
Family members. Yes, family members.
Tons.
And I mean, this is a norm. When you think about it, this is a norm. And I was explaining that to someone the other day. I said, listen, you have parents. Your parents are working. You're a young player. You play sports. You go through your 4 years, your 3 to 4 years through college. Your parents are aging out. So by the time you get into the NFL and you play probably on that first year contract, and it's the reason why we always, every year from different players and different teams, we hear about losses in their families because depending on where their parents were when they, had this kid, they're already in the later stages of their life. And it's unfortunate, but at those times, a lot of these players will, just lose their parents and family members. It is a part of the game, and it's something that, management, the league ownership, player personnel, they understand that that's coming because, over a number of people on a team, there's going to be losses. Levante David lost a family member, but he's tenured here, so it happened to him earlier, in his time, and so many other family members throughout the years. We've seen it. It's happened. It's not that it is something that's it's unheard of. It's just something that it has to be dealt with. It's a part of life. You can't stop it or change it. And since that particularly is usually one of the more egregious things for someone to deal with, other things happen as well. But hey, at this point, your whole lifestyle, if you're Donovan Smith, is only what it is because you are a left tackle in this game. You signed that contract. You've agreed to come out here. And at the worst case, you could have taken yourself away from the game.
Absolutely. And like I said, I'm not trying to downplay anything that he's gotten on, whatever he's got going on. I'm just saying that everybody's dealing with it. And especially football being a team and a family sport the way it should be, especially these guys have been together long enough. It's no excuses with a young team. These guys know what it takes to win. So these are the times you got to lean on him. And he being the longest tenured Buccaneer on that offensive line, he needs to be the anchor of that crew and hold them together, especially with the exit of Ryan Jensen due to injury.
Well, see, that's the thing I think right now that is kind of hurt Donovan Smith a little bit this year is because he had Marpet there. He had already gotten very comfortable with him. They were very much, the brothers on that side, if you will, and kind of it worked for him because he was able to create that bond. Now it's more of it's a different piece there, and when you get an elder veteran, elder statesman, if you will, like Mason coming in, he's very, I've been in NFL for a while. I'm going to do my job. I may not be jumping out here to help you and things of that nature. And then it's also our personnel. I mean, another part of it is just what it is. I mean, we come out in 12 personnel, we come out in 13, we come out in 11, we come out in these different formations that are really depicting he's going to be over there blocking by himself. He may get the chip, and I mean, he has one hell of a chip when Leonard Fournette comes down and chips somebody that's going outside. He's chipping the shit out of any outside linebacker or DN that could really even, be a threat out there. So you're having that help on those snaps. But some of these plays, Donovan Smith is making some holes that he should have just let go. They're over the top. And it's like, okay, dude, he's falling. Let him go,
Yeah. So speaking of egregious holding, this kind of set the mood. This just sets the mood right here. Just a straight bull rush. And you get
so we're engaged.
Inside. Yeah.
Why would you turn inside? Why would you let him turn inside? That's what you can't give up from an offensive tackle. You can't give that up.
You make him go around. Make him go the long way.
Yeah, make him go around. You got to sit inside.
It was just at this point where Buccaneers fans and everybody got excited, and you got a touchdown pass and to tie this game up, and you just knew this was just the first thing that came in my head.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
And that's
It
just
was
it. I
at
mean,
this
when we
moment that
watch
he
it,
knew
there's so
he
much
fucked.
that's happening because we don't have the way this offense is working right now, we can't stay ahead of the chains. We're always behind the chains. And now we're coming up to those long third downs. And when you get to those long third downs, you put a player like a Donovan Smith in danger. You know, when you don't have your all pro Tristan Wirfs on the other side, you put Tom Brady in danger, you know? And I can't understand why a team that clearly has enough firepower would not be picking some better schemes or formations. And if it's Brady that's doing this, then he always needed the Bill Belichick. He always needed the Bruce Arians to kind of keep him in line, right? No one's above the coaching as long as they're still a player, you know. So that's what my thought is, and I think that's where Tom Brady is losing right now. And you can bring all the players in that he wants. Just because he wants it doesn't make it to be the case. I've really not seen. I know he was real big on bringing Julio Jones here. I really have not seen
and
it.
Russell Gage. Those are both his guys. Those are both his guys.
I still just haven't seen it. And to be honest with you, the Buccaneers have had the names in the Buccaneer locker room looked really well at the beginning of the season, but the dynamics really placed them as the same type of receiver. And lack of route running, kind of all similar body frames, aside from like a Scotty Miller and a Darden that was here, but little production out of them. I was pleasantly surprised of Scotty Miller to still be able to stay on the team this year. But with that being said, the production is once again still underwhelming for the speed that we talk about. Still underwhelming, you know. So I can't. You please tell me, Blake. We don't have a dynamic receiver when it comes to elusiveness. We have a great route runner. We have a phenomenal route runner in Chris Godwin. And let's say it like this. I mean, you said the name just now, and if anyone doesn't know who he's talking about, I'm going to tell you right now, that's Gwinnett County's own Josh Downs. You know, he's at NC. You see the helmet right behind Blake there. And I'll tell you this. Listen, great route runner. I've been in the gym with Josh Downs. I've seen him personally. His brother, Caleb Downs, the number 3 safety in the nation, just won the championship at Mill Creek High School here in Georgia, 7A, toughest division that you could be in. And just a phenomenal family. I think the mom was like Olympic athlete.
Yep.
The dad, of course, was Gary Downs, used to play for the Giants, running back.
And don't forget his uncle, Dre Bly, nephew of Dre Bly.
So you know, we're talking about if he's a receiver that comes definitely dynamic, definitely brings that quick twitch,
and
gives you a
kicks.
little bit of, kind of gives me that Peoples Jones, Juju Smith-Schuster in a Antonio Brownish type body, kind of he has a lot of wiggle with him. Isn't that Pickens feel the ability to get open like Pickens does?
Reminds me a lot of Steve Smith.
I think, yes, smaller in stature, but definitely looking to prove himself, which is going to be huge because that's something that Tampa definitely needs. You know, that's just one of the things that we definitely need. And, you know, that'd be a great pickup for us if we're able to pick that up. A lot of times people don't like to see pick up young talent, but I haven't seen us really, you know, hit a home run when we can pick great talent that's still on the board. Realize when you're picking for a position that you're already very loaded at, you should be able to pick up someone and develop them. You should not have to pick up
and that's
starter.
a spot they definitely got to look at because you're going to lose Scotty Miller, Julio Jones. Russell's under a 3-year deal, so you still have them. You already let Darden go. Not sure. I want to see what Tompkins got these last couple of games because I loved him coming out of the preseason. I'm looking forward to that, and that's pretty much it. So you're going to need a receiver some point in this draft.
Well, let me ask you this, Blake. This is another thing, and it seems like it is a Brady thing. You drop a couple of passes for Tom Brady. He is uber and super unforgiving. He then will not go back to you
He
for
says it.
no
They don't
reason.
trust you. They won't throw it.
I won't throw it to you. And then what that becomes is it's like it becomes a part of the defense can now shrink down on the players that we know you will throw to. And that hurts the team overall. And I understand if the coach, if the receiver coach or tight end coach puts somebody out here, you know, you really have to give them an opportunity. I'm going to say, listen, I know like anybody else knows, if you've been a Bucs fan, you watched and you've always thought, oh, Mike may not run his routes 100%. The ball's not coming to him. I get that. But I think we've taken way too many shots to Julio at this point. He's had a couple of good catches lately, but for what I've seen out of him, this last game was probably the best time I thought that his legs were really there. You know, they come out running in the rounds with him, and I'm like, dude, his legs ain't there. He's not the guy he used to be. Why? And if you want to run an end around with anyone, there has to be someone else that's moving more fluently and does not get hurt as much as him. Why would you risk it? You know, when he can make those big jump ball catches like he made this week.
That's in his wheelhouse right there.
Yeah, that's in his wheelhouse. You do that, and he's more productive doing that. And you stand a chance of either getting a PI, moving the ball down, or he just makes that catch. Versus you know, he came up gimpy every time he runs in, he comes up gimpy. Why are you putting him in that position? He's 10 years already. That's not what he does. Yeah, that's not what he does at this point. He's at a different point in his career. Now, Mike, for the same time, listen, Mike has been going down, catching balls. I see it. I kind of could feel like he's frustrated. He's not getting the targets. You know,
some of them passes are just flat out shitty. Deshaun, you can just call it out. They're just flat out shitty. Some of these passes he's throwing.
Listen, and you know what? I think so. You can't tell me that if he had Gronk, all of a sudden he would be that much better because Gronk was here. Because he's finding Cade Otton, he's finding Cole Keith for that.
I always thought they should. I always thought they should incorporate Keith more. I mean, he comes up with the catches, he blocks, and people.
Dude, he's in there and he's giving you like what Whoosh was it? Whooshcheck? You
talking about Kuhn? I was gonna say Kuhn.
Well, no, Kuhn. Kuhn, you do it. Whooshcheck would do it for San Fran. You know, Raffman was doing it back in the days for San Fran as like that's a position where you're in there blocking so much, they will not account for you because film says you're in this personnel to block. You know, and it's going to be a situation where you're going to block more than you're going to go out for a pass, but you can always leak out.
Right.
And now it's just, you know, there has to be something there. Another person, let's stay on offense. There's another person that is they got the nod. Rachaad White gets the nod at running back. Leonard Fournette was just not being productive at all. Rachaad White gets the nod in the game. Before he gets the starting nod, he's in rotation. He's running hard. He's running, but then he gets the nod and gets the start. And he's a patient P. I don't know what's happened to him. He was really pushing P because I was trying to figure out what happened to him, Blake. When you saw him running, did you see him running for touchdowns, or did you see him being too patient and not hitting the hole? Are you saying there was no holes there? What did you see out of Rachaad White? Because they've since went back to Leonard Fournette bell cow and went back away from Rachaad White because I don't see Rachaad White showing me he has the ability to break it out. Have you seen him in the open field trying to go for a touchdown, or does he do the same dead leg, slow stutter, and then
the dead leg,
then run into? What is he doing? He's not trying to run for touchdowns.
No, but I think his style fits a little bit better with the offensive line than Leonard Fournette. I think. I mean, it's clear that.
But he has to move forward. He's not being north and south. See, to me, I've realized this. If you're going to have Leonard Fournette, you have to have someone behind Lenny to push him. Leonard will get lazy. That's just what it is.
That's why
Leonard will get lazy.
That's why you got
heavy Lenny. Get heavy Lenny. We'll get lazy Lenny. We will not get playoff Lenny.
You ain't gonna get Lombardi Lenny every L.
You will not get Lombardi Lenny. So in order to get Lombardi Lenny, you got to tag him out. It's got to be a tag team in there, and somebody else has to go in. When he's the type of player, from what it seems like as you watch him, if he's on the sideline and he's not in, and someone else is in there, oh, he's chomping at the bit. When he gets in, he's steamrolling. He's doing the most.
Speaking of, we was talking about passes earlier. Before we got off track, I wanted to bring up that one touchdown pass. I think this was critical in the game at that time where we was just talking about shitty passes. Mm-hmm. This is easy read. Head goes straight to Mike Evans, and look at this ball. Mike has no chance of getting this. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's just there's no chance.
Underthrown behind him, and they're like, play that back. Go back to it, because listen, I want everybody to watch this as this play unfolds. You're seeing the back of the DB, and you can see Mike Evans' face mask is turned around. He sees the ball. He can make any type of play on this ball and get PI. If it's there, he can get a touchdown. The DB is in no man's land right now. And we call that trail position. He's in trail. He's fully giving up the cheeks at that point.
Yeah, he could throw back. He definitely. I mean, I get what Brady's doing with this, but that ball's got to be up there where he can get it. Or at this point, he's got 3 steps. Throw it in front of him.
That's it. There's no. I don't see a reason to try to even back shoulder that when.
Just look at all that room. Throw it in front of him.
Everything is out in front of him right now. There's no reason for that. So I mean, it's like he's making stuff difficult so that he could, make some phenomenal play. And oh, it's great. Like people were calling me and when he came back the other week, like, oh, Brady made it so he's so dangerous. And I'm like, well, he's the reason that we were in that situation to start with.
Yeah, that's back to the point I made earlier. You give praise, but you got to talk the shit when he's playing bad too. You got to go both ways. As he's playing like hot garbage.
Yeah, he said it too. He's not playing well. And I mean, listen, I don't expect him to be super mobile. I think that I've seen some egregious play calling, and if it's him or Brian Leftwich that decided that they should run anything that looks similar to a Philly special with a 45-year-old quarterback that has never been a mobile quarterback, and then he stops, the turf goblin could have got him. He could have tweaked or blew the MCL, ACL, anything. The turf. Listen, we've seen the turf goblin get. We've seen the turf goblin get.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Athletes, right? So he stops and tries to come back for a ball. I'm like, dude, everything is brittle in you, buddy. That your tofu wasn't gonna hold you together. Come on, man. You had to listen. Why are we running him out there for that? At that point, if that's something that you want to do, you need to be having in maybe Trask or some other glitchy person that's out there that,
hey, that before. Why don't they use Trask in the goal line to run quarterback draws? He did that all the time at Florida. And Trask is very mobile.
Let him do that. Let him run option in there. We have to bring some type of spark to this offense. And because it's too easy, listen, at this point, when you have this is the plus, this is the minus when you have a Brady. You have 20-something years of tape and film on him. You don't have that on everyone. So when Trask comes in, you don't know. You saw what happened this week. It was Purdy. It was Purdy. He came out there and it was just like, dude, one big hit. Aside from that big hit, it was Purdy, doing his thing. Hit that film. Let's see what he's doing right here.
I said, hey, I pulled this one up. It's Hick. People be talking about Hicks all the time. Again, does work, but don't show up on the stat sheet. Only one lineman gets any type of penetration on this play. Look at this. The guy is 5 yards in the backfield, and that's the touchdown. He can't do it all. Unfortunately, he gets away, and Devin White gets juked out of shoes.
Wait. You gotta pull that back. You gotta pull that back. Oh, man.
He said, I got you, Devin. Got you.
I got you right here. This is where we stop right here. Let me see. Who is that? Who is that? I don't even know who I'm covering. Wait a minute.
I see what he's doing.
Wait a minute. Did you see what he just did?
Yeah.
Because if we're in zone and you was passing him off, why did you go with him? Because somebody already came your way. You got passed off. Look, 44 came over. You got passed off already.
And here's the other thing. We was just talking about Levante. Look at the coverage. Look how quick Levante takes his man. There's no delay. Watch as soon as that guy comes in Levante's window. Boom. There's no shot. No shot.
And attached. So you saw that. You saw the hand. He passed him off. That hand released out. And then once he got his guy, he got right in his pocket, went right with him. You know?
And
Levante,
that's their best tight end. Oh my God. He said, "Oh my."
Well, got this dude over here just running past him. He should have hit him with the me. Yes. Yeah. You should have hit him with it when he went right past. It's just come on, man. And this is look, we're watching his foot placement. If you see those happy feet, he's not on beat.
No,
that means he does not know too much. He's not hitting his keys and fitting in his lanes properly because his feet are way too happy. They're moving too much. There's
look
not
how
a
smooth Levante is. Let's look at the difference. Look at the
slide. Just look at him slide and then break. Open hips, go. Slide. He doesn't look frantic. You know, when you look at Devin White, it's
the exact opposite.
Chicken with his head cut off. You wouldn't think they're playing the same position.
He's trying to make every play. That's always his problem. It's not your play to make.
It's not that. And now he's out of position.
If
and you cannot be out of position.
Purdy. You would have smacked him. Because what you did, you blew. Akeem Hicks made a great play on this. He shut this play all down. There's nowhere to go.
And look, for that fact, the whole D line actually doesn't do a bad job there. You watch the end get upfield, cause pressure. You watch Hicks push the pocket. That's not going to happen every time. It looks like this is Will Golston over here. He goes up, takes the two tackle. Yep, that's Golston over there. He takes the other tackle. So there's a seal there. The back can't get outside of Golston, right? It's the bottle right there. It's a bottleneck right here. Boom. Just me and you with the tunnels made. Oklahoma. I don't know where you at, Devin White, but the Oklahoma tunnel was made.
The jack
all you gotta do is come fill.
The jack strap was on the ground.
Come fill, buddy. That's it. You didn't come or fill. so that's it. You gotta shoot your shot, Devin White. I know you ride these horses, man. I'm waiting for you to just ride on downhill on these dudes, man. Come on, man. We gotta see a little bit more. And I mean, listen, he's been very prominent, but these Barrett type tackles, and to just down the field, 7 to 8 yards, kind of, jumping on the Tiger's back, that Tiger tackling, that's not gonna do it. That's not gonna do it. That's not. Yeah, come on, man. You don't get anything for that. I mean, they're gonna put one on the stat sheet, but 7, 8 yards down the field, no, you don't get anything for that. And
he said, "I got him."
I'm hoping that he learns to disengage. This year has been a year. Linemen have been getting to him. Get that boy some Pam. Spray some Pam on his jersey, man. They grabbing him. He need to be a little bit more slippery, man. He
can't get disengaged. For as big as he is, I'm surprised he can't disengage.
And I thought he would be doing a lot better. I felt like earlier he was blowing through through the edges of linemen because he was reading better. Right now, he's not reading as well, so he can't utilize his speed in his advantage because he's not reading well. And I don't know what's going on from a film study perspective, but clearly Levante David is in the film room. So
we weren't even looking at Levante, and our eyes couldn't help but to look right at him. Do you see how that works? I was just look at this. Look at this. I was like, lost a step. What are you looking at?
Yeah, and I mean, there's always going to be injuries. I think we're seeing two types of the games. Like we're seeing there's got to be some breakdown, and I know early in the season there was some breakdowns with Mike Edwards. I was seeing there's a lack of safety play. There's some miscommunications there, and that really just I feel like the back end gets set by the safety.
It's just too much changing. It's when Winfield's not there, it's totally different. Winfield lines everybody up. I think you're.
I think that's it. I don't think he's as much of a field general as Winfield. When Winfield is single high, but when they bring Winfield down, and then Edwards is just back. Yeah, Mike and Logan back. It's a different. And then yes, I understand because you're using Winfield down here. Because he does kind of everything. He can blitz off the edge. He can play like that flats really well. He's very hybrid, but I like when I see Keanu Neal in there. I feel like he brings something. I
love when he comes in there. That's another linebacker.
He's another linebacker. He's definitely in the hybrid oh, he's bringing it. And I mean, you hearing him, you feeling it. He's coming in there. And listen, some of those hits that they're gonna, he's in the, he's a little bit high out the target zone.
Well, speaking of it, we talking about it. What do you think about the bullshit penalty? I'm gonna call it bullshit because he hit him dead in the shoulder. I think his target point was good.
Yeah.
It's even
But
Purdy
I thought his
dropped
target was
shoulder.
good too. Let's play it. Mm-hmm.
Fullback didn't chip.
Watching him come.
Purdy didn't realize your guy was releasing. Has no idea.
Yep.
Look at the hit point. It's in the shoulder.
Yep.
It's not the helmet.
No, it was not. And I mean, think and it doesn't even look like a helmet connection at that point either.
And that's pretty much the two things that set this game off. The mode was the Donovan Smith holding for the touchdown pass, and then this penalty on the first play. This would have been the tone setter. What a way to set the tone! But it's negated by a penalty. San Francisco comes down and scores on an opening drive. It was just one thing.
And then what happens is you notice what happened after that. It seemed that Todd Bowles got a little bit more conservative in his play call, and this is what I've learned about a lot of coaches and over the years is that you got to stay the coach that you are. If you're a blitzer, you're going to blitz.
Let the refs
you need
to
to
pick
blitz
your
and
play
be
calling.
consistent.
Don't let them refs to pick what you want to call. If
Because he went away from it. He went away from it.
Fuck you over. They're gonna fuck you over, and they did that the entire game. Carlton Davis on that third down pass interference penalty where the guy fell. I was like, oh my god! I said, this is one of these games.
He didn't. It wasn't. You could tell, and I was like, okay, that they're not gonna replay that and take that up. No, so but it's one of those things where I feel like Carlton Davis has been having a pretty good season from a coverage standpoint. I do feel like Jamel Dean's been playing really good from a coverage standpoint as well. I mean, one or two big plays for that they pick up some penalties on and things like that have not from the corner position. They've played to me phenomenal.
Very well.
However, I've not seen and look at the number of tackles that Carlton Davis was in on the last game. I mean, I don't know if you guys noticed it. I mean, he was. We didn't really talk about how he's standing up out there. He stood up in some mud out there, made some tackles. So I was like, listen, they're playing great. I think that we're with the switching. What happens inside is we're switching those safeties, and some players need to get in a groove. If you do what Keanu O'Neal does, you're going to be there. But the truth is, Keanu O'Neal's always, for the most part, he's usually slightly late getting back and getting outside. And those are how people attack him because they know he's such a in-the-box safety. He's ready to hit, but we'll throw it at him, and maybe we'll run it at Edwards.
Yeah, you bring up a good point because I think it was on that same drive. It was a third down. He gave up a pass interference penalty in the end zone because he just couldn't get there. I mean, that's never been his thing. He's never been a top-tier coverage guy. But it's you're right. They said you got to hit him in coverage.
Yeah, and that's where that's that type of player. You will attack him without routes because his head will be inside so long that he just won't be able to beat the ball to the outside and make those and break on those. And I mean, sometimes there's some coverage mistakes as well. I noticed that happen. But overall, this is a Tampa defense, just like a Tampa defense has always been. They're never built to stay on the field a long time. This team is built like any defense is going to be better when they can play with the lead, a la a Chiefs, the Bills, all those teams. If they can play with the lead, that's great. They can get after you. They can kind of, they know what you're going to do, if you will. But when you get a team that's we're on the field, 3 and out, that is going to have a defense that's going to mess up the rotation. Dudes are going to be tired. And when we get in the second half, what do you expect to be in the tank when the offense hasn't held the ball?
Yeah,
and that's what I see.
And they're not sustaining drives long enough. Now, granted, like Todd said in the little pre-hype video, they're not creating turnovers to help the offense as well. So, but even when they did,
peanut punch screw.
Peanut punch, and that's what I was just about to say. Even when they did, that will create turnovers. Offense still wasn't mustering up points. So I mean, the bottom line has been the offense all season. It's been the offense is lackluster all season. It's been consistent.
And so with 4 games left, Blake, what could be done?
Got to win those 2 division games. That's for sure.
That's for sure. That's not even a so okay, let's look at those two division games. So you have the last game, which is going to be the Falcons. By that time, are we going to be seeing a Desmond Ridder out of the Falcons? And maybe they'll kind of
Well, they already announced Ritter's going to start.
Yeah, so we see him, but we just got picked out. We just got taken apart by Mr. Irrelevant. So for us to hang our hat and like, hey, we're going against the rookie. I don't think that we're respectively we can really say that right now from what this defense has been able to do. And I can't see where the spark is going to come from in this defense as well. I saw they had some elevations. I think we elevated a cornerback this week
because of Dean's toe.
Yeah. It looks like the inside linebacker went. They released that LSU. Yeah, no, I think it waived or released him.
The Rutgers middle linebacker.
The Rutgers linebacker. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then, but we're looking at this team, and I'm like, listen, I can't see where the spark, if you will, would come. And right now, if you can't, to me, I think right now defensively, if we can't get tackles out of Devin White, you have to blitz him. You really just have to instead of having a D lineman back up 3 yards and rush, you're just going to send Devin White, and the offense just doesn't know where he's coming from, and we can just shade or slant to the other side. He's a great rusher. His body size, his speed, and if nothing, that will allow us to be impressed man on the outside, which our corners do extremely well, and that actually that will help. The ball has to come out quick. Rather than letting them just sitting back here and we're letting anyone just kind of take us apart.
No doubt. They use them like they use other players, just moving around a line of scrimmage. You don't know where he is. You don't know what kind of coverage they're in, and then either bounce him back or blitz him, and you just blitz from everywhere. So they have to almost account for Devin White as an extra
rusher. Yeah. And that's every time. And I think if they do that, you already know what Vita Vea is bringing. So when you get Vita and Hicks, one of them are going to get a one-on-one. That's a beat that or a pressure or push in the pocket. You want that, and then we can see what we can get outside. We've done some stuff. I've seen some extravagant stuff out of Todd Bowles defensively when everything was working great. I've seen the wide nine look where you put Shayoinka out there by himself, let him get a one-on-one with a tackle. He's been able to win that. Not necessarily as consistently as we would like to see out of a second year, but definitely formidable. Definitely able to do. I think that we should really, we've seen Nelson win the one-on-one out there in the same scheme. So I think Carl Nassib's been definitely a hard hat and lunch pail type of guy. His rushes are definitely all tough rushes. I think it was like one time I think he was unaccounted for, came free and unabated to the QB, but just a tough player, really gritty in there. And I think for the rest of the rotation on that D line in the front, if you add Devin White to the package and start sending a little bit more, that would get you there. But I can tell you this, what the reason that I believe that we don't do that, just like everything else, it's an ebb and flow. The front and the back end work hand in hand.
They have to.
If you can't put the team in a situation where you could guarantee, or you could kind of say, hey, the numbers say they need to pass, then they're going to run. And if you guess wrong on a run blitz, then you're beat. So that's why we're not doing it. And that's why I think if we can't get a lead, then Todd Bowles can't be as fancy. He can't, he was coming, I think, like 55%, if not more, on third down. It was almost a guarantee that he was sending the blitz, in comparison to the league. But when a team is not under pressure, he doesn't have to, teams don't have to, they can run it on third down, they can run it. They don't have to pass.
Change the complexity.
When you say, hey, we're not getting sacks, that's why we're not getting sacks. Teams are not under pressure. They don't have to pass, so I'm not sure. What do you have for these next 4 games? Like, what are you seeing? Or, what are you seeing? What's from a schedule position? Where do you see? We got the Bengals coming up this week. Is Joe injured? Joe has something going on. He's not
Everybody
injured.
at this point, everybody at this time of year, everybody's banged up. Joe will be on that field. You can guarantee it. And if he wasn't, I would still be scared because Tampa Bay Buccaneers can't beat backup. So at this point, I don't care.
Historically, we have
so
problems with backups.
I'm not even gonna go there. So I'm gonna say Joe's gonna be on the field. So I moves my attention to that weapon that is called Jamar Chase and that excellent run game of Joe Mixon and P. Ryan back in the backfield. You're gonna have to deal with that problem all game. Carlton Davis, you're gonna have to see this is where you find out if you were worth your money or not. You get to play against Jamar Chase, a very fast receiver, a very good skilled route running receiver. So we're going to find out what you got in this game to see if you are worth that money. And I hope you play good against him because the Dean's not going to be in. I don't think so. No, I don't think he would play because you're going to need your toe to play DB.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing that matchup. I'm just going to go game by game because I don't know what injuries are going to happen. I don't know who they're going to get back in the upcoming weeks. But it would be really nice to have that whole secondary back fully and healthy coming up along with the front and see what we got.
Well, I would love to see if we could get that whole secondary back at least for these division games. So if that being said, and if you have to not have someone in to make sure they're 100 for those division games, which you need to win your division, to be in the playoffs, win your division, then you got to win those games. And you've already dropped the one to Carolina, so you need to come back and make that a split. And then you need to go ahead and finish out against the Falcons. Right now, Kyler Murray is it that he's done for the season right now?
Yeah, that team is in disarray with Kyler Murray.
So with that being said, he in itself provides a very unique obstacle to face when you're facing the quarterback with his elusiveness. Now, I'm not certain of who's the backup behind him, but But see, let's not even get ahead. Let's go back to the Bengals because the way that Tampa is offensively right now, you can't start looking ahead a week at all. They
score 20. They struggle to score 20 points a game. You're not going to beat many teams doing that.
Yeah, you can't do that. And then that only means that if your defense is not pretty much absolutely locked down, we're not turning people over enough. We don't win the turnover battle. We are not stopping teams. We're letting teams that just that don't even really come down and score, they can come down and score enough so they can come down and kick a field goal. And we're at this point, we're not even moving into the range to be in field goals battles where we're our kicker can kind of keep us in it. We're pretty much going 3 and out, and that has to be remedied. And I was talking to a Dallas Cowboy fan, and he said, hey, at this time in the season, you are who you are. Because I heard Todd Bowles saying, hey, who we are. We're not that team. Listen, at this point, we are who our record says we are, right? Like,
can't talk down to nobody. I said that on there. I said at this point, again, y'all don't need to be talking about nobody's team being horrible because this team can't score any points. So you don't have no right to talk about nobody at this point.
Yeah, we can't. Listen, how could we? We can't possibly talk about anyone because it's at this point, it's just a situation where, hey, we can't do enough, So offensively, we're not moving the ball. We don't convert on third downs. First down is abysmal. I don't care whether it's a pass or a run. And even if everything seems to be going great, Brady will throw one of these balls into the ground, and now you're already behind the chains again. So I've not seen any consistency out of this team. We haven't scored 33 points in a game this season. So offensively,
did we get in the 30s against the Chiefs? Was it?
Let's see.
We'll just say it was. If not, we'll say it was close to it. But
no, let's see. Oh no, we got 31. That was against the Chiefs. We did get 31 on the Chiefs, albeit late, but we got it. And that was the highlight of the season. That was the highlight for the season. So I mean, at this point right now. The 9-4 Bengals come in. They're looking to wipe our nose. They're looking to wipe our nose.
Red hot Bengals.
They're looking to wipe our nose. And once again, listen, I remember a couple of years ago, Blake, we were talking about these primetime games and how we like them. We want to get them. We want everybody to see how great this team is. And
then they look like
right
crap.
now, we look like absolute just Squidward garbage out here. It's horrible. It is absolutely horrible how we look. And here's another 425 game. I wouldn't be surprised if it was to get flexed. I don't think it will, but I wouldn't be surprised if it got flexed because, generally, if this Buccaneer team had not had a Tom Brady on it, this game would get flexed. I'm in belief, but because he's there, and then of course you got the 8 p.m. game against the Cardinals. That's going to stay where it's at. And then, it's time to finish out the season with, arguably, I'm sure that Falcons game, which is, I don't even think it's scheduled yet. I think it's TBD at this point. I think that'll be a 1:00 game because, we haven't shown anything. Now, if the only reason I could think that game would move, it's not really Tampa. It would be other teams winning and forcing that division issue. That's where that game would get flexed. But pretty much this Carolina game is the first and most important game for us. And then that Falcons game is going to follow because we need to win. We need to win the division to at least make the playoffs. Is this a different team in the playoffs for you, Blake?
If they're healthy, they can be. If they right the ship and fix their screw ups. Getting Tristan Wirfs back definitely be a good piece, but there's got to be some changes, and it's got to be within the play calling with Tom and Leftwich come up, and with them just not having inopportunistic things happen always at the same times and stuff. It's like you got to play a collective, good at least 3 quarters of football, 4 quarters of football. Man, it's just this team has hardly played one good quarter of football.
I don't think we could. We've not shown that we could string together. It's a possibility that Jensen could be back. We've kind of heard about Jensen since week 8, being, he's around, he's walking out the boot, he's doing this, he's doing that. So now, as with the playoffs looming and the possibility of him being able to come back, clearly offensive line depth we don't have. There's not much trust there, and it's twofold because we have a quarterback
I think
that's very much not mobile.
In defense, I think Leverett has earned an argument to be the starting left guard in the future.
At the left guard position? Well,
that guy's done great pulling. He's done great playing all year. I think our run game excelled once he took over at the left guard position. I think that's a debatable argument. He's a free agent at the end of this year. I think that's a debatable argument. I don't know if the rookie's ready. He just got absolutely dominated. Gedeke, when he came in, he got absolutely dominated.
No. I don't think that I think at first he was there, but then something happened. And then like that first week, he was okay. And then something happened and he was just not the same.
He was at that moment.
It was at that moment that he I mean, how are you liking Josh Wells over here? Like, if something had to happen, it's just normally funny.
If you give him chips, he'll be fine.
This is what happens. Donovan Smith, I don't know if it'll be a Cam Jordan type situation, but it seems like when you talk about Donovan Smith, he gets a miraculous injury, and then we're always like, oh, wait. I want him in there, even though he sucks, but I'd rather him than the dude that's behind him. Yeah, because we have anything else. Like, so if you're asking me, hey, you tell me, hey, I can have anything to drink as long as it's water, then of course I want water. I'll take a large glass.
That's my only option.
I mean, there's nothing behind him. When you look at the depth chart, you guys go onto the website, look at our depth chart. It's like, dude, there's nothing there. So what do you expect? So. I'm pretty surprised at that. I think, did we see a running game this week? Do you see us being able to run against this Bengals defense?
I believe they can get the run game going, but it's got to put yourself in manageable downs. I think that's really what it comes down to, making manageable downs along with the run game. It would be nice to see a 100-yard rushing day, but I'll take putting themselves in manageable downs and limiting the penalties that's killing you, putting points off the board. That's what I would like to see, and just to get some type of continuity go, because everybody keeps complaining about, oh wow, why don't we run the 2-minute offense? Do you understand? For the 2-minute offense to work, you have to consecutively hit plays. That means don't get dumb penalties, don't drop passes, don't give up holdings. I said that's how it works. You keep hitting plays moving forward, not hit 2 plays and then I get 2 penalties. Now I'm sitting here at 3rd and 20. That's not how it works.
Probability versus possibility. Listen, that's the difference between a fan and someone that understands what's going on. Yeah. Is it possible? Yes, you could. The probability, it's reduced extremely when you get to second and third and 20. You know, the numbers don't lie. So, I mean, that's what's major. I mean, we're looking at several little nicks and bruises at this time of the season. I'm hoping that Winfield comes back. I know he was limited this week in practice. Shoyan Trianka, same thing. He was limited. I think Carl Nassib didn't participate. I think he had like a veteran day. He's been playing pretty great. Murphy Bunting was in full participation. Sorry, he's been a great player. I think we're going to need him. Hopefully he's outside because Jamel Dean's not there and he's in the regular outside corner position. I think he's going to do better than he does in the slot there. I think he's more comfortable outside. And he could – listen, I don't think we have enough to have him back next year. Isn't it contract year for him as well? I'm not sure if it is, but I think he might be fifth year.
It was Dean
and Carlton last year.
Yeah, and I think
was last year. So this should be his.
Yeah, Sean was either before or after. I can't remember.
Okay, so we'll see.
Either way, they're all coming up. Devin's coming up. Yeah, I think Devin and Sean were in the same draft. Yep, Devin and Sean were in the same draft. That's correct.
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard to find those Mike linebackers, but right now he needs to just dial in and retool. I'm not sure what happened to him. He's just not the same linebacker that we had. But you know, there's everyone, like you said, the injury list is long right now for both teams. Bengals have several players that are either limited, did not participate, nicks and bruises. That's just the time of the season that we're in. When you get to the 17-game season, there's going to be a lot of injuries, but guess what? Good players and good teams are going to pull through. They're going to do what is necessary to get their guys to the next game healthy and ready to win. And because the season's getting tighter, guys, and this is the window's closing for us. We have an opportunity to make the playoffs as it is, and we have to win the division. We got 2 more games in front of us. We really do need to see a spark. Hey, Blake, give me your thought right now. Surprise question for you. Are we at 1,000 yards already rushing combined? I don't care how many people you got combined on the team. Tampa Bay, are we over 1,000 yards for the season as of yet?
What are you talking about, on the ground?
On the ground.
I don't think so. You're not going to get any yards from your quarterback, and your only rushing performances were the little bit by Keyshawn Vaughn, very limited. It started to get some. The 100-yard rushing game, I think he had one by Leonard and by one by Rashard White. So if I had to make a guess, I don't think they are. I don't think they're at 1,000-yard rushing.
We're very extremely slim. Lenny has 524 on the ground. Rashard White has 370 on the ground. So we're there. It's close. Keyshawn only has 21 on the ground because negative plays get taken away.
Yeah, they're at 948 yards exactly.
That's what it is. Like we said to you guys before, Mike Evans is close to getting that 1,000 yard. He is 805. Chris Godwin's got 700. So Lenny, he has a lot of passing yards too, almost 400 yards. So he'll have over 1,000 yards probably by the end of the season in all-purpose yards. Really easy,
a lot of receptions.
A lot of receptions, but nothing else is really jumping off the table to you. Surprise person here for me is the 36 receptions by Cade Otton, the rookie. That could definitely be huge development for him. But you're going to have to make some decisions if you're Tampa when it comes to the offseason. You have Cameron Brate, you got Cade Otton, you're picking up other players, but I think scheme and personnel right now, we look like Tom Brady's yesteryear. So this Tampa team right now looks like a New England Patriot team, but our personnel is different. And Tom does not want to go to Mike Evans for whatever reason. And I think we're at a point where you need to go to your studs to win the game. And even though it's cliche of what he normally likes to do, it's kind of clear right now. The numbers don't lie, right? So there's only so many times he's going to be able to go to Chris Godwin, and happy for Chris Godwin. He's just gotten his legs back. He's starting to run and move like himself. Very happy for Julio and his production that he's doing, albeit not as much as I would like. But pretty much nothing else there from the receiving core.
Nope. Very far in between. Deshaun, pretty appreciate you jumping on, talking about this, recapping and talking about the next game. Hopefully by the end of this game Sunday, we're talking about something else.
I hope so. Hey, one more thing before we go. RIP to Mike Leach. You lost him this week. So, losses, condolences out to the family. And, also just poking fun, but RIP to Jackson State as well.
Yep. And hello, Colorado. And on that
hello,
note,
Colorado.
Hello, Colorado. Hello, my honey. Hello, my darling.
What do you say, TC? Get my theme music? But you know what it is. It's all about the green, right? So you know what Prom had to do. Prom had to wait. They ain't had a bag for Prom. Prom said, listen, you got that bag for me.
He said, this is all we got, sir. He said, we can't get no more.
He said, pull up on me, buddy.
He said, I brought you the people. You got to put up the dollars, homie.
Dude, you heard what he said. He said, I got my luggage and it's Louis.
We out of here. This is Just Chilling. That's Deshaun. I'm Blake Anthony. We out. Peace.
We out.